Hi, Omar Farías. Welcome. Thank you for coming by.
Oh, thank you so much, Katie. Thank you. I appreciate the invitation.
Omar, would you mind introducing yourself and letting people know who you are and why you're here?
Yeah, my pleasure. So I am Dr. Omar Farías. My pronouns are he, him, his. I work for Hills Pet Nutrition. I am the Senior Manager of Professional Partnerships and Events. I'm also a board member at Pride VMC. I am currently the president-elect for Pride Veterinary Medical Community.
Love that. So that was a very short bio for a very busy person. Like, I'm sure your everyday life everything gets done in just a nutshell like that. Then you have all this free time, right?
Yeah. Well, I can certainly tell you more. I'm from Puerto Rico. I was born and raised there. I graduated from the University of Pennsylvania. So I am a VMD, which I always jokingly say that is very much in debt. But I did actually finish paying my student loans about 2 years ago. So
awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Graduate in 2000. Was in general practice for about 11 years. Joined Hills in 2011 as a consulting veterinarian in New York City and moved through different roles at Hills, and now I'm at the corporate office. So.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people have probably met you through your role at Hills, but I was really excited to hear that you were now president-elect of Pride VMC. I'm a big fan of Pride VMC, and I think I was telling someone else this year, I was telling Sharice Roth this year that the Pride VMC Facebook and Instagram feeds make me really happy because it's just like a bright light in my day usually. They're highlighting really cool people, doing cool things, and they're encouraging and uplifting and sometimes talking about really hard stuff, but always in a beautiful, inclusive way, and I love that. And so I couldn't think of a better person to take over the role of president, which I hear now is not going to happen for almost a year, but but they're very lucky to have you. So.
Yeah, no, I'm lucky to be part of the organization. So thank you so much. So we're a big fan of you and AAHA. The Post, we have a fantastic CEO, Dr. Mia Carey is our CEO, and she's really the machine that keeps us moving. So I can't take credit for those posts. Mia Sue, if you're listening, thank you so much. I also actually love the Post.
Yeah.
They're my favorite part of my feed.
Yes, they fill you with light.
They're inspirational. They also make me aware there's a lot of things that we can all learn culturally.
Yeah.
And Mia does a really good job representing Pride VNC and just putting dates or recognizing different subcultures that I wouldn't even be aware of some of the issues that she puts on. So I learn a lot from our social channels myself, to be honest. So I'm with you. I love it.
Yeah.
But it's not me, so I don't want to take the credit. So.
Well, I think she does a great job then representing the organization and giving a tone to the Pride VMC voice, which is very identifiable. And I do think that there's a really special note that Pride VMC and the programs that they take part in and the Facebook feed and just the way that social issues are brought to light by Pride VMC, I think is really unique in the veterinary world because, over the last couple of years, definitely, we've all seen people kind of just like at each other's throats and, it feels like you can't say the right thing or you can't ignore this issue and you also can't focus on it because somebody will yell at you for the way you're focusing on it. And they're making it feel so complicated. And I feel like looking at those posts and hearing that tone of voice from a group like Pride VMC, it simplifies it for me. It makes it feel like it's not that hard and we just need to pay attention and be aware.
Yeah, thank you for that. I'll say, so we do also have a social media working group. So one of the nice things that we do is that anybody that is part of our Facebook group that is a member of Pride VMC can bring up an issue or an article, and then as a group we decide whether that's also posted or not posted. We have a method in which we we want to make sure that we're vetting it, right? Making sure that it represents and has the right tone and the right voice. So if enough people give it some thumbs up and it doesn't bring any concerns or red flags, that is something we shouldn't post. So so if people are also interested in participating, there's a way of connecting and kind of being part of that process of those articles that are being posted too.
Yeah, awesome. That's good to know. That's a good policy too, because then one person can't just be like, yeah, and then just post.
Yeah, well, life is not an absolutes, right?
Yeah.
So as a group, we do better together and kind of understand what should
love
be
that.
there, and there's like the right context, and somebody else may bring their perspective and pick up something that, you know, maybe a red flag that I may be completely culturally unaware of.
Yeah. Love it. So we're here at Connexity now, and the theme is create a better world. So I've been asking our guests, what does that mean to you? What does the better world in vet med look like?
So I love the question, you know, and I love the theme of Connexity this year of
Me
creating
too.
a better world. Really started strong with a keynote.
Yeah,
so-
Jess Pettit.
Yeah,
she's
thank you,
amazing.
thank you. Yeah, just better. I really enjoyed, you know, the whole perspective of how she's bringing that to life. You know, from the creating a better world, from my perspective as a Pride VMC board member, you know, obviously, you know, our mission is just to create a better world for the LGBTQ plus community. You know, a world in which we could all just be equal and thrive. One of the things that we're working on this year is getting people to, first of all, bring awareness of the Gender Identity Bill of Rights. And actually on acronyms, some of us call it GIBOR, some of us call it GUIBOR, so we're not really 100% there what acronym.
There's no right pronunciation.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So, you know, you know, the Gender Identity Bill of Rights is a document that was created by, you know, gender non-conforming, transgender, you know, non-binary individuals of our community that just really kind of outlines, you know, the basic human rights that those individuals should have and receive. So as part of our effort of creating a better world, you know, we're really kind of focusing on kind of bringing awareness of this document, and then we're inviting both individuals and organizations to actually sign the Gender Identity Bill of Rights. So if people are interested in finding out more, you know, they can go to pridevmc.org. There's a little tab that is going to talk about the Gender Identity Bill of Rights. The big important thing for us is that we want to make sure that people actually read it and agree with it. And if they do agree with it, they can actually sign it and they can add themselves to it. Thank you. AAHA actually has signed.
Yeah.
We're really kind of grateful for the support as an organization like yours that has you know, put their name behind, and that's really significant just because you're leading. So that's really kind of like, from my perspective as a board member, you know, the one initiative that we're kind of really kind of doubling down and really kind of want to talk to everybody just to make sure that we really protect those in our community that are most attacked, you know.
Yeah. That AAHA did just sign that. Garth signed it on our behalf, and I believe James, our CFO, signed it also. And we had a meeting, you know, to when they signed it. So we all got together on Zoom, you know, on Teams, and sort of watched him sign and talked about it. And everybody was misty-eyed and just like feeling their hearts were full, I think. And it is such a small thing to sign something, and also such a big thing for it to mean so much, coming from a very old organization that hasn't historically been seen as being like a thought leader in terms of of being, you know, socially that liberal, I would say. And I love that so much, and it made me so proud to be part of AAHA. But it also made me feel really proud to be in the field where, you know, this is a really small industry, and it's hard to be in a room at a conference like this and not know somebody now, you know, and people are starting to have these conversations with people they know and with people they don't know, and it feels like a more welcoming environment for them. Do you feel that too?
Yeah, I you know, I do, and I'll say, so first of all, I feel we're part of a great profession.
Yeah.
You know, I think that, you know, your typical veterinarian, veterinary technician, practice manager, the people that come to our profession are people that are just in you know, in general, like just good people. You know, they're in the profession to help animals just because they're, you know, just from the start, they're just good people. So I do feel that there's a difference in the profession, and I think that organizations like yours, AAHA, signing, just really help, because we can use you as an example, exactly what you just said, an organization that traditionally has been seen as, you know, potentially a little more conservative, that wouldn't take a stand like that, and having AAHA sign just really helps. I actually have used you as an example as I discuss it with all organizations, why they should sign,
Yeah.
and I say, AAHA did. I do, going back to being here in conferences and, how, it is a very small world. It is a very small community. And I do.
You better be nice.
Yeah. I do love the fact that we're starting to have conversations that are like very important and really just, I think that we're starting to move the needle of understanding how important representation is, of understanding that, how we all benefit if we all support each other, kind of like better together ultimately, and that camaraderie I do feel it at conferences, and I do feel it here at Connexity.
Yeah, same. I've been saying this whole week, like, where have I been for the last few years not coming to Connexity? This is my first one, and I really love it.
Yeah.
I know. And I'm not just here because I have to be. I just want to put that on the record.
Yeah.
But just being able to put pronouns on name tags and have that be normal. I love that. And just having things be more par for the course now, so that it doesn't have to be a discussion every time. That feels like progress to me.
Yeah. No, and that's impactful. And so I noticed the pronouns immediately.
Yeah.
Because I have been to a lot of events, and I, there's an opportunity for more events to have the pronouns there. So I, as soon as I got my badge printed, I was like, woo, my pronouns are there. So it was perfect.
Yeah. And I love it. So, okay, one more question.
Yeah.
You work for one of the biggest companies around. It's really big. Hills is really big. And, we're an industry that spans a range from people like you who are a veterinarian who works for a very, very large international corporation. And then you have people who work at very tiny family-owned practices. And there seems to be, more and more distance between them as time goes on, just because those little practices and the very, very big corporations have such different experiences day to day. But you're still a veterinarian, and the veterinarian at that tiny 5-person practice is still a veterinarian. What kinds of things do you feel like we can do to keep that common ground and remember that we are all in the veterinary community, even though our day-to-day might look really different? Like, do you have one thing that sort of you feel like unifies us more than just squishy puppies? Because it's always squishy puppies, but
and kitties.
And kitties, yes, and kitties, although they sometimes don't like being squished as much.
Not squishy, but I mean like little kitties.
But how can we keep that sense of community as companies get bigger, smaller practices struggle to keep up, or they feel like maybe they're not being seen as much because of the presence of such large businesses in the industry?
Yeah, so, I ultimately think that we have so many commonalities, and like, ultimately we're all human beings, right?
Yeah.
So we just, it's a little bit back to basics. It doesn't matter to me who you represent, where you are, what company you're from. If I'm at any event, and where I sit on a table, like, actually, I'll bring an example. The opening ceremony at Connexity, I came in, I sat at a table. There was some young lady that I didn't know. And I just sat. I'm not shy, so just like, she was alone at the table, so I just sat there and I said, hey, do you mind if I sit with you? And then we started chit chatting. I learned she's from Minnesota, and she was like an hour and a half north of Minnesota. So it didn't really matter like that I work for a company and she works at a small hospital. We were just people with each other, right?
Yeah.
And then just had a conversation, and and then we enjoyed the opening ceremony together, and we left. So I think ultimately that's it. And from the perspective of a company, we visit everywhere. We visit all sorts of sites of practices. So I feel that we try to have a sense of what's going on in different scales. It doesn't really matter like what type of like practice individuals are ultimately, but at the end of the day, we're all human beings, and I think that's the one common thing that we have.
Yeah.
Don't forget that we're just people, right?
Right.
And we have the same needs, the same wants. It's just in different perspectives ultimately. So.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why these in-person events are so powerful. Like, we sort of forgot that we needed them when we could get all our CE virtually, but there's nothing like coming here and sitting down at a table and meeting somebody new.
Yeah. For the record, I was never a huge fan of the virtual CE, but
I didn't love it either. I mean, it's nice to be able to get it so that you don't have to go somewhere, but there's nothing like the energy of being at a conference. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not shy either, though, so that helps. I was a really shy kid, and people think that's really weird because now they can't get me to shut up. So.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's like, we all should find our voice.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that's a really good way to wrap up because you are, in your role at Pride VMC, your connection to the veterinary community and seeing so many different aspects of it, you're really helping a lot of people find their voice. So thank you for all that you're doing.
I am just part of organization. I don't take really any personal credit. I think that it's that sense of community and working with other diversity, equity, inclusion organizations, that all the umbrella organizations that we are. So it's just really all kind of working together and making it more powerful veterinary community.
Love it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Omar.